So let me try and officially introduce you to our guest today. And I'll still give her an opportunity to share. We have so much to talk about. Okay, you guys are going to be a fly on the wall to our amazing, amazing, amazing conversation. So Juliet Aigbe is also known as Chef. Jules is the founder of Cakeflair, of Buffet Bakeries Limited. I may not have said that well. I was trying to figure out how to say it, but I'll give you an opportunity to say it well. I think it's like a French name. But Cakeflair is a luxury cake company all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, that has carved a niche in the confectionery industry by producing high-hat sugarcraft, decadent and lower calorie cakes options using awesome recipes that embody their vision. They also have, opportunities for guilt-free happiness, creating guilt-free happiness one cake at a time. Cake Flares commands knowledge in commercial food processing. And in fact, let me just describe her in my own words, okay? She is an innovator, right? She is absolutely creative. But beyond that, she's a futurist because a lot of the conversations I have with her, we're thinking about supply chain, the future of coconut industry and making sugar substitute, which are some of the things we're going to talk about today. So, Chef Jules, welcome. Say hello.
Hi, thank you for having me, Toyin. It's a delight to be here, and I honestly look forward to our conversation.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And if you're joining us, please say hello. So there'll be people joining us. They are going to join in the chat towards the end. There might be questions for you. But I tell you, first of all, I have to thank you because this is your busy time of the year. Christmas
Yeah,
is just days away. You're right there in your office
thank you.
slash kitchen, and you're
Thank
mixing
you.
and everything. I was like, oh, let's just do this. So I have to
Yeah,
thank you for taking time out. So can you introduce us to your, cakes and all of those things right there, the
yeah.
pyramid of your products?
Thank you so much, Toyin, for having me. I had to extract myself from downstairs production floor to come up here to do this. And so I don't have my makeup on, but I'm cool. I'm super excited to be here. And yes, as she said, I founded Cakeflair a couple of years ago. First as a pastime, then I went to seek commercial opportunities by going the full distance in how I can really penetrate the market and see how I can make a difference. And so I started out with made to measure working cakes, birthday cakes, wedding cakes, and the rest of it. But I did that like a creative, like pastime. I did that. And so when I started doing that, when I realized that I was tying me down, I couldn't really travel, I couldn't go out because everything has to depend on me. So I just started thinking, okay, how can I make this business scalable? How can I run this on autopilot without having to be there all the time? So that was I started doing trying to say I can do a turnkey model, how I need to create a system where it can work without me being there. So I started, trying to, read stuff about corporate governance, went to business school, Lagos Business School, and I also, came to the United States to do pastry science at the French Pastry School in Chicago to learn, how to really do this as a business. So when I came back to Nigeria, I was just ready to go the full distance. And so I set up a bakery in 2014 or 2016. I opened up the bakery where I had bread, I was doing cakes, I had a Sugarcraft Skill School, and I was in just like a 3-in-1 kind of arrangement. And I got in some staff to also help build the brand. So, and that's when I started doing the bread and everything. But you see, something happened in 2017. Government increased tariff on wheat importation by 15%. And so it meant that we won't be able to do bread at the regular commercial price. And I couldn't really start changing my recipe to include what I call additives that are carcinogenic. So I couldn't change the recipe completely. And if I did that, it would mean doing substandard, not wholesome quality, and then make good margins. I just thought it goes against my values, of integrity and doing the right thing. So I had to pivot the bread business into cake mixes. So I have my cake mixes here. I have 6 products. I have the Nutri-Sap, the one that takes care of those who are diabetic, who may not want to like eat sugar. So I use coconut nectar as the sweetening agent for this particular brand. And so if you're diabetic and you're worried about your sugar level, blood sugar level, so it doesn't spike up your blood sugar level. So with a glycemic index of 35, you can actually consume this product as a diabetic. I also have the vanilla flavor, we have vanilla flavor, the red velvets, the chocolate flavor. And then if you cannot tolerate gluten in wheat products, we have the allergen-free, gluten-free one as well. And if you're like, okay, I don't bake at home, I can't even bake to save my life. Do you have anything else I can use? We have the pancake mixes, the Chef Jules pancake mix. So if you're not baking, you don't have an oven, you can still have that. And so I realized that with this kind of products, I could scale because I could scale bread, but I didn't. The margins were very minimal, and each time governments put up a regulation that affects your cost of production or importation, the margin just nosedives. And so, but with this cake mixes, margins are still okay. You can still scale, and but you see, the only thing is that it's almost like a luxury goods because in Africa we don't really have a culture of baking, especially West Africa, English-speaking Anglo, do you call them Anglophone countries? We're not really like the Francophone countries where do a lot of patisserie and the rest of it. So it's still a culture that is evolving, it's developing. And so we are trying to re-engineer people's minds to embrace baking as a way of life. So that's pretty much summary about the cake mixes.
Wow,
So,
fantastic. You and I also talked about during this year, COVID-19,
yeah.
how you've had to also adjust in two ways, really, that we've talked in the past. And if you want to share more with our audience, please feel free. So, in the first way of being able to shift from production to the value of your cake mixes, being able to sell more during COVID, right?
Yes.
Right. That's one. Then you and I also talked about the power of social media and some of the tips, I
Mhm.
shared in the past.
Yeah.
And so yes, please, because what happens is we have other business leaders right now that have also been impacted with COVID-19. But I think your experience is so fascinating
Mhm.
in terms of if I can say you've grown during this year, right?
Absolutely. We've grown in leaps and bounds. That even COVID happened. Well, I'm coming to say that because I know I've lost some loved ones, which is very heartbreaking. But I realized I brought with it a new way of thinking, a new way of adopting or adapting to life. So what COVID did was make me think in a different way. Think out of the box, pretty much. And so what we did was, these products actually came to life during COVID. Before COVID, we'll just bake the cakes. Even bakers will look at the cake mixes because they're like, I have my recipe. Or I have my... But when COVID happens and everybody has to be on lockdown, they're like, oh my God, okay, what do we now do at home? So that oven I've been using years. Then you can see how to keep the kids engaged. So I realized that the product was not targeted at keeping the kids occupied, making them more, useful at home, in quotes. So the mixes now became like, oh, can I have 2 packs of cake mixes? In short, throughout the lockdown period, my staff didn't even leave the bakery because the bakery is a place, like a production place where you can actually still stay, live, you have a living quarter. So they kind of stayed back. So we had orders upon orders of the cake mixes. That was actually when, like, you know what? People still go and shop in all the formal retail outlets. So let's try and penetrate those markets. And so that's how we gained access to one of the formal retail outlets in Nigeria, actually one of the major ones. And so when I thought, okay, we'll just do the Lagos stores, and when I got the PO, they said, you know what, supply all our stores across Nigeria. I'm like, what? So that was how I now said, okay, fine, let's see how we can do the supplies. And so this cake mix is in every single state of Nigeria where you have those stores cited. And so we're also planning to expand to other stores and even now try and see how we can penetrate West Africa with the mixes. And so one of the things that we did during the COVID time was produce this, and then we had bikes that will go to homes to deliver it. And then we also have people who come to us to be like, middlemen to pick the products in bulk, they buy wholesale, and they distribute it to other smaller stores in the neighborhood. So since you couldn't really go out to other parts of the town, so within your local community, we have the stores that even stock the mixes. And so that the COVID gave us a platform to make people take a second look at the idea of baking at home. So it's more like DIY baking. So if I can't go and buy a cake, I can't do a party, I can bake at home, So, and I started doing online courses because of this. And so if you check the back of the package of the mixes, if you see learn, cakeflair.ng/learn, where you can go there, you see recipes you can try on your own. And so pretty much people started looking at, no longer it's convenient for you to bake at home. So we were able to provide that idea of convenience baking without being intimidated, because baking can be quite intimidating. So when you say, just 2 eggs, I've kind of demystified the process for those who might want to bake at home. So even if you're not a baker, you can pull off a wonderful looking cake like a professional. So that's one thing that I think COVID helped us to really achieve. I think I've lost out on the second question. I can't really
Yeah,
remember
the
the
second
question.
question was around, social media, because I remember even before COVID, you and I have been talking about YouTube
Yeah.
and how to structure your things and, being the go-to
Yes.
expert when it comes to cake. And then, yeah, that's, just because one of the things I actually put together a course, social
Mm,
media for your business, at the beginning of COVID, because I have a technology background. So I embrace technology pretty fast. So when COVID happened, I was like, let's pivot, right? Then I realized that other people may not know the first few things they needed to do. And that's why I put that course together. And I've
yeah.
seen you practicalize those things I'm saying people need to do.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So honestly, I really, really appreciate that gist that we had about social media. I think you taught me a few things about even arranging my products and my brand in a way that can that can pull the experience of the customer in to tell the story of the brand, build an emotion around the product. I learned that from you. Thank you so much for that. And one of the things I learned with the COVID thing and then doing the product was I started doing online courses. I didn't think I could do that right now because we have this very big setup of the bakery where you can come upstairs and learn how to bake hands on. So that's now set up a studio in my bakery where I now did courses. We have like 13 courses right now, and right now we have free top sellers, learn fruit cake class, beginner bakers class, and then the baking templates. We already have that. So now we start doing the online classes and the social media approach. People are now like, okay, more woke. I can use that word. Like, okay, what's going on? Let me see what's going on. If you want to buy a cake, just Google cake. So I started using things like hashtags. You taught me how to do that. Go to my YouTube channel, speak in machine language. So when you
Yeah.
type what they're looking for, and that, when I spoke to you, we're like maybe like 3,000 followers and stuff. Now we're close to 8,000 followers.
Wow.
So and that was because I kept using hashtags. I kept listening about people looking for the emotional, or let me say, the needs of people, and then building empathy with the products. To say, okay, you know what, I can solve this problem for you. Are your kids restless? Let them come and learn how to bake. Not, oh, buy my products. I look for the needs around the people and now tell the products around what they need. And when I go online, I see what's the trending posts, what are the tags that have the highest, trends or followership. So I put my products around those tags,
Yeah.
and I realize that I get lots of
You,
DMs.
you remember you remember that time we went into Instagram. I
Yes,
was like, look at this hashtag. Look at
yes,
this.
yes.
This is
Like, oh, it's 4 million. Oh wow! So when I'm doing like chocolate cake, I look at which one has the highest. Instead of just saying chocolates or cake, I just look at if I add the two together, which one has the highest number of views? Oh, so I now tag that. So that has really helped me gain visibility with
good.
brands. You know,
No,
so I'm
this is
super
so
excited about
good.
that.
No,
And
this is
I
so
always
good.
think that I'm a very introverted person, but it's not even about me. It's about the people. What do they want? How do you put the products, for them, package it for them to see the value and draw into it? So I had to do a flip. Like, no, it's not about me. It's about the people, what they want, and what do I do? Does it meet their needs? If it doesn't, like the pancake mix too was a response to the fact that, oh, I don't really bake. I don't have an oven. So how do you sell cake mix so you don't have an oven? So I thought, okay, cake, not the pancake mix. You don't need to bake it, just flip it. Still the same composition of flour, sugar, butter, eggs, but in a different configuration, you can actually still, do your pancakes without having to bake it like a cake mix. And so that was how listening to the customer, customer indeed is king, because the pancake mix is even selling more than the cake mixes. Because I'm like, okay, we run out of mixes. I'm like, guys, do double shifts so we can produce more and meet the local market. Honestly, the market is vast. I've just scratched the surface. I've not even, really gone the full distance yet. And I'm super excited, to, know about this. I'm so happy that I can actually scale my cake making into mixes. And I'm kind of waiting to see what the future holds. I'm going full distance. I'm not looking back. I'm just putting my all in it
Oh
and
my
seeing where
gosh.
it takes me.
Well, you know why I am so happy? I am so happy because on Saturday and then yesterday, someone called me and then I spent 2 hours with her
Wow.
trying to help her shape. And what struck me was that she said, Toyin, I follow you very closely online, but I did not know that
Mm,
that behind the scene you actually do this type of coaching to help people position
mm,
their business. Like So that caught me back, because you and I, we talk. Like, I'm constantly checking in on people. I'm
Mm,
constantly advising. I'm constantly saying, do this, right? But one thing that is happening for me now is I'm now structuring
mm,
how to help as many people, not just one on one.
yeah.
That is something, just like you are learning and stretching. That was a stretch for me,
Mm,
because the things that I naturally do. See, I used to provide strategic stuff for the world's largest company, the world's largest retailer. So
yeah.
these things are like, you know, they're like natural to me. That's the world I come from, right? So I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy to support my friends and everything. But then I realize now with the AFCFTA, you and I was talking to you about
Yeah.
the AFCFTA, and you said, "What is that?" I was like, that's the graduation now. That's the graduation. So we've started. I've now launched a course called, for the SME businesses that want
Yeah.
to go regional and global. So I talk about three markets: local markets, winning in the local markets, winning in the regional markets under AFCFTA, and then winning globally. And one thing I tell the people in my community and my membership is those three markets, they run by different rules. So
Mm,
AFCFTA, for those watching, it's the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, right? And it opens incredible opportunities for small and medium size, for all companies.
yeah.
But in particular, the small and mid-sized company, and we almost have to put a number behind. If you're making this type of revenue, then you fall into that
Mm,
category. That way we can
yeah.
distinguish, because the bigger brands, they are hiring their consultants, they are figuring these
Mm,
policies
yeah.
out, right? You also talked about the impact of policy change at the
Yeah.
federal level to your business, to your
Absolutely.
margins. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the reasons that I actually have direct channels to government. So we held the Nigeria Investment Conference, because oftentimes, okay, this is me, this is what I've seen for real. A lot of the policies that they are implementing, sometimes they're getting directives for external actors.
Yes, I figured because I realized that they look like the anti-enterprise developments.
It's not that they're anti, it's more of who are they listening to.
Mm,
Because the same year, the vice president of Nigeria was saying, yay, we've moved up in the World Bank index. It's about the same time, another report is saying Nigeria now has the highest number of poor people in the world, over
yeah.
90 million. So if you're happy that World Bank index is making you happy, that's
Mm,
an external window doing business index, which is fine, but it doesn't say anything about GDP growth,
exactly.
unemployment level, right? Small businesses like yours. So
Yes.
it's almost like, from a policy standpoint, yes, you can play to the external foreign players interested in investing in your market and all of that. But if that's the only index that matters most to you, you're
Mm.
missing the key, the people that voted you in, right? That's
That brings this issue of backward integration to bear because I'm thinking, why aren't we pro-local? Why aren't we producing? Why aren't our technology or developing technologies that focuses on producing things locally? Why are we still importing, looking for forex? Now there's a cap on forex. As a small business in Nigeria, I can't even spend beyond $100 a month. And I'm thinking, all my technology comes from abroad. All the apps we use, how we even put our products or even our courses online, we use apps that require us to pay in dollars. And I'm thinking, why can't we have local apps? Okay, let's even leave the technology part. Things like agriculture, like flour, sugar, butter, eggs. We don't produce enough. Do you know the waste we produce in Nigeria? The entire wheat production in Nigeria can only go through one of the flour mills. 1 hour production, all the wheat is gone. So we don't even have enough wheat produced. We have a quantity issue and we have a quality issue because the kind of wheat we need to produce to make breads are the ones that contain very strong wheat flour, like that contains durian wheat and stuff like that. But we don't have that in Nigeria. So I'm thinking, why can't we backward integrate? Why are we still so? And why is the trade treaty is not equal? It looks like we have to export. So
okay.
we export raw materials, and then we now ship in finished goods to produce here. We can't. Do you know I can't even export my products now? When I was looking at the exchange rates and to even export to a place like Tesco, it's it's already it's like dead on arrival. You can't make a profit. So it's like I have to produce abroad to even be able to sell abroad. So I'm thinking, how do I begin to navigate regionally and then internationally when I can't even navigate locally?
Mm, okay, let me give a quick crash course on one of the trade and investment master classes. Let me shrink it into a few minutes, some of the things covered in there. There needs to be, number one, there needs to be a mindset shift at all levels. Whether you're in private sector, whether you're in policy, everything has to change. You have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Number one, I start my class with talking about foreign aid versus foreign trade. Because a lot of the agencies, a lot of federal agencies right now, there are some things they should be doing, they won't even do if there's no donor support.
Wow.
So I try to tell them, foreign aid did not make China what it is today. So foreign aid is not going to take Africa to where it needs to be. It's a crutch. They're leaning on a crutch. So there needs to be a complete overall when it comes to mindset, because some of the mindset is even things left behind when you think about the British colonization. There are still residual things of we need somebody out there to do XYZ for us. That's even in the private sector. That's something directly to the private sector. You are your own heroes.
So how can we break that jinx? How do we break that jinx where we don't have to
The first thing
so
is
westward?
when number one, just like you've committed, you have to recommit that this is the only answer for economic development in Nigeria.
Yes.
Like some people say yes, but they say it with half of their hearts.
Okay, but I've said this wholeheartedly for how many years? Close to 17 years now. So
yes,
beyond just affirmation,
yes.
just affirmation, what are the practical things that need to be in place for this really situation?
So you need to also think industry.
Yes.
So you're a leader in your field, but in order for you to push in regional and global markets, you need to think industry. How is your industry behaving right now? Like, how can you influence your industry? Because collectively, as an industry, you can lobby the government. But as an individual, they may not listen to you, to your own need. So practical. So one of the practical things I advocate for is the private sector needs to organize itself and marshal their voice. And your voice, your industry voice needs to be loud. But if you are not all together as an industry, you are winning, one person is winning, that person is winning. You cannot go to the government right now and say, oh, agriculture, I need ABC. As an individual. So supply chain.
Sorry, I need to cut in here at this point.
Please.
Because you're pretty much saying create advocacy groups around your industry.
That's
how
one.
How do we begin to do that? Because I'm looking because when we try to do all this association thing, when people come there, it ends up becoming like, oh, we have bills to pay. So people always get on that survival mode as opposed to becoming aspirational or trying to self-actualize this Nigerian dream. So it's always about trying to survive. So once you can't get past that survival, it's difficult to start saying, okay, let's continue this struggle until we can get the government to listen to us. The journey actually starts, it gets halfway, and everybody just fizzles out because they still have bills pulling them to go and fix. So essentially, we have not been able to successfully band together as an African group in Nigeria or a Nigerian group to say we have made the government listen to us. Except maybe the SARS movement where you see and even that I can see that there was a lot of funds galvanizing that movement. So you see, it still comes down to this idea of empowerment, or let me say resource that helps you to make this community advocacy possible. So how do you begin to make that happen?
Yes,
without that?
I'm going to point back to a private conversation you and I had about some of the work you were doing, even at the community level. I think it was several months ago. You were telling me, in my community, maybe buying power or buying this. You were the leader here, and then you left. And what did I tell you? I said, go back. Go back and lead. Wasn't that what I said? You were saying, I've done it. I'm done. I'm moving. And what did I say? I said, go back. I said, go back and lead. All it takes is someone like you. Someone like you is what it takes. You have access to somebody like me. You can pull me in to talk to your community, even if they will not listen to you. Just set up a meeting. Like yesterday, I was talking to the consulate in New York, and I said, hey, I'm giving you 1 hour of my time. Like as the government in New York, I'm offering you 1 hour of my time. Organize, reach out to whatever community, organize a webinar. I will show up and give you 1 hour of my time. Like I would help train, I'll help. Like 1 hour is not too much for me to offer, right? That's what
Mm,
I would also encourage. Like this, if we know this has to happen, like the success we are all craving cannot happen without private mobilization and capacity development. Like
I agree.
one of the things I tell people is everything in the global and regional is process driven. If you skip step two, you are not
Mm,
moving forward.
yeah, true.
So I know it would be nice to hear a easy route around this thing, but I am saying face that wall and break it down.
Mm,
And it's going to take somebody like you. And you're one of the most influential people in the industry, right? You are an award winning, well recognized. You actually have more, like if you are saying this, like you actually have much more influence and reach internationally than an average baker. You
mm.
have access to banks, you have access to you have what it takes. But I also recognize that you also have your business, you have to run your business, but you almost have to take the advocacy part as a mission.
Yes, do you know, funny enough, I actually went to one of the Lagos State parastatals to really help with my coconut sugar. I can mention your name now, Lascoda, to help with the coconut sugar um, value chain, but the coconut nectar parts. Because when I say, look, guys, you guys as a coconut development association designed to help, tap into this value chain. Who are the actors in this value chain? Nigeria is the 18th world producer of coconuts, and yes, what we get, we're just scratching the surface. Say, yeah, that's true. You need funding. I say, if government say they need funding to do that, then what about small SMEs like us who are coming up to do stuff? Why can't you just partner with us? Let's talk to the farmers and then help them create a culture around coconut so that we can just put all the actors together and then draw into that, tap into that value chain, and then make Nigeria not just number 18, but people should up to top 10, and then export. We have this in abundance. We have it in Nigeria, we have it in the east, we have it all around us, and we have the coastal type, and we have the ones that are not in the coastal type. So I feel like we have not even scratched. I went back and forth, back and forth. I was frustrated with the entire process, even though yeah, the DGD tried to help. We really, really galvanized. We talk. I said, okay, so let's move from talking to doing now. Get me two of your guys from the WhatsApp group. Okay, let's get the farmers on board. Let's go visit them, and then let's see who can help us start do a pilot project to commercialize this and see if we can actually find a business model that will work. And then if we can get them to, plant the seeds, give them at the subsidized rates. So if you're buying seed like maybe 1,000, give them maybe half the price and say make them grow these things, and then we can use it. I'm not a producer of oil palm or coconut trees, but I can use the nectar to produce things like Nutri-Sap. Nutri-Sap, diabetics can't eat cakes. Look at they're all shouting, Christmas is here, Christmas cake, fruit cakes. They're like, oh, I'm not doing cakes. Why? Because they are afraid of sugar. But with Nutri-Sap, they can eat their cake and have it without having to worry about glycemic index being spiked up and stuff like that. So when we have that in our backyard, why aren't we doing that? So for me, I realized that yes, there's government initiative that policies we have one of the best policies on even agriculture. But in terms of drawing that value chain, bringing it to reality, there's this gap. There's just, I don't know what's not working because I feel like we talk a lot. And then when it comes to implementation, we're just found one thing. I don't know why. And I'm trying to see how we can break that jinx to make sure that we can walk that talk and produce results that will really bring us, we call ourselves Africa's giants. And I'm thinking, okay, we have the potential, but in reality, we're not even anywhere near there.
Yes, and what I would say is it starts with conversations like this because as you're talking, there's also someone that I'm supporting and guiding with my classes and everything that's actually in the Ministry of Agriculture, right? And
Yeah.
there might be things I may not be able to share publicly, but that's somebody that's it's almost like has to do with you have to create a new initiative tied to an existing to should I say for example, AFCFTA.
Okay.
So AFCFTA is something the presidency has signed. It's this is the politics of there's a politics side to getting people buying and getting work done, right? Because
Mm,
everybody's always in what's in it for me, what's in it for me. So even in you driving this, the committee and the stakeholders that you bring together, there must be something in it for them. And
mm.
the strategy you have to employ is that you have to really understand what game are they playing. When I say game, so for example, let's just play this strategy now publicly. If I were
Okay.
you, I will design something around African Continental Free Trade Agreement is here, January 1. We in this community, we are trying to, the private sector, we are trying to mobilize ourselves to take advantage of AFCFTA. The SSC to the Action Committee on AFCFTA is a direct contact I can link you up with. So at the national federal level, they have committee upon committee upon committee upon committee all just on AFCFTA. So you need to bundle this your agenda inside. You need to insert it as AFCFTA will work if you will help us succeed in this space. Because under AFCFTA, you're telling us to go compete with Egypt, with Ghana, with South Africa, because that's what it means, is that the regional market is now open to Nigeria.
Yeah, I guess you.
So that will be the agenda. So what is going to happen is banks now are looking for agenda AFCFTA. Ministries are looking for agenda AFCFTA. So bind your what you're trying to do to AFCFTA implementation for the cake industry.
Okay.
Like this is
Well,
our own AFCFTA agenda.
oh, that's fantastic. I didn't even think you see, that's why it's good to have a conversation like this. So just need to come out of my own bubble to see, okay, it's not working, that's not working, what's going to work. I'm a diehard optimist. I thought, okay, am I going to just be having this hazy, fuzzy mirage of always seeing it ahead and then never really reaching it? It's just because there's,
No, and this, because I support a lot of people behind, again, that's one of the things I think I need to do better on going forward, is exposing some of the things we do privately. So even as you're talking right now, there's work I'm doing with leather industry, Kano Lagos integration, where I even brought one of the leaders, the SSA, to the governor of Kano. I've been featured, and because the same thing you are explaining, this is the ultimate challenge we have across Africa, value chain development. They are broken into pieces, so we have to patch it up. And this will take years of work. But I see people like you, and I'm super excited. So people wonder sometimes, a lot of people in the diaspora, like, Toyin is always excited. Toyin is always happy. Because, I mean, how can you not be excited about the future when you're part of designing what that future needs to look like? I've already seen the future, right? I've already, with my work at Walmart, at the world's largest, I already know the value and the number. Forget oil. Walmart is $500 billion annual sales company.
Wow.
What's the GDP of Nigeria? You see what I'm saying? So the power of, when you tap into the power of the youth, Africa has the youngest workforce. Over the next 20 to 30 years, Africa is going to add on at least another 1 billion people. While the rest of the world is shrinking in population.
Huge. But see, but I mean, Tony, I was saying to you offline before now that, okay, so we have this large, huge market, but then what's the buying power of that market? It's highly fragmented.
It's
So how do
highly
you deal with that?
Think about what happened during the era of Obasanjo's presidency, when he was trying to liberalize the mobile phone. What's going on is that a lot of things happen in the informal market that is not documented. People don't know that money exists. So if you look at the numbers, they will tell you, Nigeria is poor, Nigeria is this, which is fine. And that's what is the argument, that they cannot afford mobile phones. Nigerians, they are so poor, they cannot afford mobile phones. See, you and I now, people have 2, 3 in their.
Oh yes, even the abokis, the megas, they only have the aboki because they
So look at so what's going on is, all we are doing now is trying to formalize an informal sector. Like people like our grandparents, they had this informal banking where it's under their mattress, they chew their cocoa money, they don't go and take it to the bank. So and that's still happening. The bank, if you look at the funds circulating in the banks, that's not the true picture. There's a lot of informal things through Benin Republic, all of those things that is happening. All this border.
But also, let me chip in a little bit, because I hear what you say about, making the informal sector formal and everything. But you see, there's also the products. There's some products you cannot bundle like that. Like my cake mixes, I don't call them mass market products. Maybe pancake mix comes close, but cake mix is not like, I don't call it FMCG pretty much. It's not like, your gari or your breads or your soap and stuff. Like these are things that you can do without. They're like luxury items pretty much. So it's okay, let's create market connectivity by making it affordable. Maybe the design innovation, is small and you can afford it, But if you look at it, it's not something that you survive on. It's not a survival product. So for my kind of product, it's a different strategy because I feel like you can't just go and say, okay, let me buy cake mix. If you live in a place like a slum location, you probably don't even have access to even gas cooker. Talk less of oven to bake. So for me, I have to be careful how I also say I'm scaling because it's like almost a niche market. It's not a mass market product. So how do I differentiate my products in that scale space and
Okay.
still adopt those policies?
Okay. So one of the classes I teach now is called business development. And it's a 5-step process I take people through. Because what you're describing, you remember what I said before we joined the live?
Yeah.
It's not an anomaly. It is how market is. So let me explain. In business development, I teach people how to understand what they're doing, and then I'll skip to step 3. Let me just say step 2 and 3, it's about your customer profiles. Like what
Mm.
you're describing, I would actually walk you through creating maybe 3 customer profiles, because you shouldn't be going after everybody, even in your social media strategy. Not
Yes.
everybody's interested in
Yes.
what you're doing, because this is the work you have to do before you actually even start marketing your product. Because when you know your customers, you will then say, where are they?
Yeah.
Right. So the first thing will be, let me just, I want to quickly, I know we are live, but let me see number 2. Let me just skip step 1. Step 2 is developing your customer profiles, your avatar. This is my ideal customer. She works hard, she's a professional, she has young kids, she wants to live a westernized mindset, she's yoppy, she's this. And then you have to say what are our aspirations and what are our gains. Because the luxury market is actually designed, we that will do Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all of those things, right? It's designed to meet the aspirations of a certain type of people. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. True.
So they say, okay, this is the type of people that can buy our products, and we're going to create it and we're going to market it just for them. They're not
Mhm.
marketing it to everybody. But when you know who your customers are, then you would say, what are their aspirations?
Yes.
So your brand could be an aspirational brand. You are saying, what you're telling me, it's not a need. Like people can do without it. But I'm telling you, there are groups of people that in order for them to live the certain lifestyle they want to live, this is a need for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm a mom.
Yes.
I want to hang out with my young daughter. I want to,
Want to
but
point to
then
them. Yeah.
yes. So after you can design three groups of people, and this is how they think, this is how they talk, this is how what they are looking for, and we can help them achieve those things. And then pain could be, I want to, like, some of the pains could be, you talked about diabetics, this, I don't have this. Those are pain points. You've actually done the work, but we've done it. You've not structured, like
Not
you're,
actually.
yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, you've done the work. You've done the work because everything you're saying, you've identified those trends. But I
Yeah.
think there's a side of you that is seeing it as, why? But I'm saying that is what you call customer consumer insights.
Mm.
So you
Mm.
actually have insights that you should be documenting for
Mm.
your business, and you
You
should
know,
be.
you know what you said is so powerful. What you said is really powerful because this idea of designing the groups of people for it. So I look at it like a pyramid. For you to buy a cake mix, you're not going to be at the bottom. You're going to be like maybe middle or higher up. So that pyramid, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I can actually create, and that made me think, but like, okay, Juliet, you're going to scale, right? That means in every locality, there's a niche of people that will buy this. They're not really like the mass, let me say the let me 20% of people that want to buy stuff. Like, why don't you just create things like mass niching, where you do a mass niche in this locality, maybe just 2% will buy this product. Then look around my entire locality and see how many local governments do I have. So in each of the local governments, where would I likely get this? And now have a presence in each of that, and then create like a sort of a mass niching strategy where I can just aggregate that niche and say, you know what, I may not have mass market, but I have mass niche. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to re-engineer that and see how I can tap into that.
Yes. So there's also a strategy they call blue. There's a book, Blue Ocean Strategy. So, and then red ocean. Part of the what they talk about is, are you fishing in a blue ocean or are you fishing in a red ocean? There are certain products right now. okay, that it's a red ocean. Yours is a blue ocean in Nigeria right now. Let me explain. Red ocean is it's crowded. Everybody is in that ocean,
Yeah.
right? Meaning
Mm.
everybody is selling maybe pencil. I don't know. I'm just giving an example where so they are competing for small group of fish.
Yeah.
You have a blue ocean that is yet untapped. What it also means is you are doing you are actually creating a market that doesn't exist.
Mm.
Because I've had to do that, like the work I do at Nazaru, this first 2-3 years, because that market or that conversation and those platforms never existed. Where you and I'm in the diaspora here in Chicago, you are in Lagos, Nigeria. We've breached the platform I've created has breached us, and we are talking as if we're sitting next to each other.
Yep.
This
Kudos. Well done.
oh, thank you, but this needed to happen,
Mm.
but it did not exist before. Where we're helping each other solve and bringing my knowledge and helping you address and helping you grow both ways. So I had to spend the first couple of years making noise, trade with Africa, right? So I've literally, I joke around with my husband. I say, I created a new industry. I've mainstreamed Africa as a commercial conversation internationally.
Yeah. Well done. I'm super proud
No,
of you for
thank
that.
you. But I'm saying you may have to do the same, which is like when you go into a wild field, you are the one leading in front, cutting down. You're saying we're going to sell packaged sugar, we're going to sell packages. It has been done in other markets, but in your market, in your local market, it's not mainstream. What it means is you're going to do more work, which is where I also have to applaud you.
I'm really thank you for affirming me on this path. It's kind of really validates what I'm doing because I just thought, Juliet, why are you always doing these weird things? Why are you always going follow the tide, swim with the tide? But I realized that I'm always seeing lights where people don't even see anything. Like, okay, coconut runs do like coconut sugar. That's high end. It's too high end now. So I already had a naysayer saying, "Ah, please, Juliet." In short, my professor of nutrition, he gets it. It's kind of like ring home like he said, Juliet, that's too complicated. That was what he said because
Mm,
and he said that from a good place. Like, Juliet, I see all the work you put in this thing, this Nigeria that we're in. I want to do that's complicated to you need resources, you need advocacy groups, you need them to support, you need the value chain to come around and say that so he saw that it was a Herculean task. And just trying to not make me go too far and waste energy. Just look for something that will be mass market inclined. But I realized that I am not wired, and I did bread, I did mass market bread. I'm not wired for just making things scalable and then quantify them and then make a margin. I'm looking at quality. Quality is key for me. How can I make it wholesome? Because I grew up in a family where we grew our foodstuffs from scratch. We only used to buy rice, salt, and sugar. Every other thing that we ate in my home, we grew from our farm. It was pretty much like a farm to table lifestyle I grew up with. So I already understand the taste of authentic meals. So when I eat meals, I'm like, this already has a synthetic. I can't eat it. So for me, I'm already built up. I was groomed and wired up to know what is quality and what is not. So I realized that, see, Juliet, you're almost like a lone voice in the wilderness. I almost feel like, should you be a businesswoman or just an artisanal passionate? He said, if you're going to be a businesswoman, Juliet, look at the mass markets. I'm like, no. There's also a market that wants quality, that wants, to put value, to get value for what they're spending their money on. So I think I am wired for that market. So how do I now package myself or package the products to, meet those needs? And that's where I haven't found mentors or I haven't
ah,
found any validation. Pretty much, I met you. I like, Jay, don't worry. This guy, I'm like, sorry, you're in America. I'm in Nigeria. It's a different ball game. Then
yeah,
over there, you have advocacy group for practically everything. If you're an alcoholic, you have a group for it. In Nigeria, you are
yeah.
God.
But there's a beautiful thing now happening though. Remember I talked about the AFCFTA.
Yes, and I know the matters
Now,
for the
the
first
next,
time.
yeah, the next step I would push you for is that map your customers in Nigeria and start mapping your customers in South Africa, in Egypt. Pick top 5 countries,
Okay.
right? Because you're going to then be able to say, who the same. The amazing thing about Africa, even though we have divided up, we all have similar inclinations.
Mm.
Like If you win, and the thing about Nigeria, I tell people, if you can break in Nigeria, it's easier to break in any other African country.
So I totally agree with that. I totally
And
agree with
the
that.
reverse is not true. Just because you are winning in Egypt doesn't mean you can come to Lagos and do anything. I
Yeah,
was on a show with Kenya. I said, Kenya, if you want to come to Nigeria, you better just partner with somebody already in Nigeria, because
yeah.
Lagos will smoke you.
And then Lagos runs like a mafia system, and I feel like, that also affects this thing called the Nigerian dream, when you have to know someone. I think that was a very good thing, to know someone to get things. But I realized that you could actually be used as a strength. Know people, connect with people, let them see the value of what you're doing. And truth has a way of just standing on its own. You don't need people you don't need to pull them in. Once they connect with an idea that this is true, they actually do support you. Nigerians actually support each other. But
Yeah,
the issue is
what you
that
said.
that
Yeah.
initial coming together is where the problem really is.
Yeah, but what you just talked about, though, let me just another thing that you're saying a whole lot of things that I'm saying. That's the rule of the game. You talked about networking and who knows who.
Yeah.
Whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in international, it's the same. It's the
Mm.
same, even here. The only difference I would say is that the speed at which you can be a nobody and become a somebody differs country to country. But
Mhm.
even going from being a nobody to somebody, you still have to know people.
Absolutely.
It comes from your ability to network.
Mm.
So a lot of times people don't put value. The work I do is all about influence and knowing who the right stakeholders are, who can move mountains for me. Like, I'm in conversations right now where I'm like texting this major person who is an advisor to a president. I'm like, come on, advise me. Like, I'm like, I'm this is where I am at right now. Oh, I'm now starting to niche down to grow. I'm at a junction where I just need 31 hour of your time so that I can
Mm.
give you a presentation of this is what I have accomplished.
Mm.
This is what I'm trying to position. And based on your vantage point and the way you see the world and the incredible things you've
Mm.
done, what would you advise me to do? So I'm right. So, but people don't do that.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I told another lady to you 2 days ago. I said, and these are the things I do behind the scene, right? I said, who is your board of director? Not board of director in terms of structure, but I told her she needs a three. And let me share that with you. Maybe we've talked about it before. 3 groups of people should be relevant to you.
Mm.
People you are pouring into, and you do that really
Yep.
well. The girls you volunteer with, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of the things you tell me you do, you bring girls into your baking studio,
I
you go
agree.
to their school, you partner with them, you bring
Yeah.
them to your bakery, you teach them home skills,
Yeah.
you're doing that anyway. But if that is all you're doing, you're going to be drained.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, but you need that for fulfillment, because the next set of people that will come behind you, they should not struggle the same way you struggled.
Mm.
Okay. Which is where giving back comes in, and grooming the next set of leaders of the future. But you also need a peer group.
Peer group. So people you're
Peer
pouring into, then people peer group. That's number
peer
two.
group. And your peer group. Okay, this is another thing I tell. There are so many things. Maybe this show will be about, my public whatever, right? There's something else I told somebody. I said, check your cell phone. If you go down the list of contacts, if you want to go international, if you want to go regional, who can you call right now that will open a door for you?
Mm.
Like, because your peer group need not be local group. You have
Mm.
peers in Egypt, you have peers in Ghana, you have peers in South Africa, you have peers in the US, you have peers in the UK that
Correct.
you could be having once a month, once a quarter webinar conversation with them to say, how is the confectionery industry in your space? You,
Tony, what is that so powerful about the peer? I think people know I have this thing just described. My secondary school WhatsApp group is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, my secondary school classmates, they're everywhere, Australia, America, and they're all, let me say, 80% accomplished. So I realized that when I was talking about the cake mix, Juliet is already in Canada. He's in Canada, he's in America, he's in Europe, he's just to get to Australia, but he'll soon be there. Just let me buy Pepsi. I'll give it to my friend. So they're like, oh, this is really hard. Nigeria. If you see the group, they're so like engrossed in Nigeria. I'm like, how you guys are? Like, no, Nigeria is our father. So there's this passion. And so they kind of like a galvanized support system around me You can do this, Juliet. Oh yeah, do this. They'll even give me suggestions. I say, guys, 6 products, please. Let me hit the tipping point first. If I can now start expanding the product, I say, no, look at Bessie Crockers. Look at, they will show me links. They've supported me phenomenally well. I think the reason why I've hit up to 6 products is because of them. You said, let me buy it. Even when I didn't have my correct, don't worry, rest of paper for me. I'll practice, I'll bake it and show you what it's. So they kept testing my products. What about the packaging? Make it into paper. I got to in England. There were some pictures to me in Tesco. Look at this. So they really did try to help me to break out of this Nigerian local mindset, go regional, like you said. And I'm glad you mentioned the AFC. So trust me, after this conversation, I'm gonna go.
Yes,
and so
yes,
that's
because
together, you know.
your president already signed it. It's now law. Come January 1, the secretariat is in Ghana because we do some work with them. This is law. This is law. I mean, there's one of my community members. She's a young young lady in the north. I'm telling you, she's like, she even sent me a long message yesterday. She said, Toyin, everything I'm learning since I joined your community. She's in Kaduna. She joined my network. Immediately she joined. Things have changed because she's networking now with African Americans. They're buying, they're doing with her. She said, but can I be translating these things you're sharing into Hausa?
Wow.
Because even in the north, we've never heard AFCFTA. Nobody's telling us that there is dynamic.
But so how did you hear about this? Because I didn't.
Yeah, because that's the core of my work. Like 2019, and I can send you some videos. We invited His Excellency Ambassador Muchanga from the headquarters of the African Union, in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. He came to Chicago to my event, and he gave us a keynote of AFCFTA and the vision they have for one African market. And I have a pin that he gave me as African Union. I should have worn it.
Awesome.
But
Yeah, you should have.
yeah, so but that's the core of the work we're doing, where the African market is now effective January 1. It is being ratified. So this is something big that is happening at the continental level. But remember what I said before we went live is that a lot of us have amazing big dreams, but we are staying. It's this colonial mindset where we have those dreams, but we think those dreams will come and meet us. Because when we realize that
it's not really a colonial mindset, because I see the Western world, they don't wait for things to fall.
Because they from the time, for example, US broke away from Great Britain, they were like, see ya, bye-bye, we don't need you, we're on our own. Okay? They cut that umbilical cord. They severed it. They cut it off. Look at even, let's just say, COVID-19 response in Nigeria. A lot of the advisory is still foreign influenced.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe I have to find the best way to describe it. But what I am saying is that the colonial mindset told us, give us your resources, give us your oil. We would manage. Remember, federal government. Let's just even forget colonial. The current structure of the Nigerian government even relates to what I'm saying, where the state cannot do things without the federal.
Yeah.
It's like the federal brings all the resources into the federal government, and then you now start coming state by state to come and get your quota.
Yes, it was that constitution, 1999 constitution, that kind of, I think we need to go and revisit that constitution and reenact it in a way that can now fit modern day Nigeria. Because I look at all the things here, you're not autonomous, we're almost like codependent, and then those who are not really pulling up another power, they seem to pull back the states that are kind of doing that. And I feel like every state has their strength, really. If you look at Nigeria, we have vast resources. I mean, when I was much younger, I used to have this 15 naira note. I used to this groundnut pyramids in up north. And where are they? They've disappeared. Then the cocoa in the west. So everything now boils down to this modern economy of oil. And now with the forex that's happened and everything. So see, it's time to actually go back to that backward integration that I was talking about, where we can look at what are we producing locally. Why can't we? I mean, I'm still saying they say foreign rice, Nigerian rice. What's that? You should just have one type of rice, Nigerian rice. Export it when you have excess, as opposed to you're not competing with the foreign rice, with Nigerian rice. You pack it, and the price point is even. Do you know, Toyin, amazingly, foreign rice is not even that expensive. I mean, it should be maybe like 2% price points higher than the local rice. So I'm thinking, so Why are you saying Nigeria rice if it's almost the same price as imported rice? Oh, power has gone out. Sorry. So but
Yeah,
that's the issue with Nigeria. Oh, we don't have power supply. So I think I might go off like
your
less than
gen.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Do you need a moment?
I'm using the generator. I think we've run it since morning. And that's what I'm saying because of production. I've run my generator since morning. There's no power supply. Since when it has to rest. Otherwise, we won't be able to work tonight.
I
And
understand.
what
And these are the
issues.
these are the realities of the things. No, you are live. Amazing. The thing is, you are living it out. All of the things we see, you are in the trenches, and that's why my message to the diaspora community is: wake up to your responsibility,
Yeah.
marshal your resources, and these are the places we need to start investing in.
Mm,
Right? We need to start instead of us saying, "Oh, back home is this, back home is this." I'm saying, look at you, pick one person. In fact, one of the projects I'm trying to kickstart, I said, adopt a village. Just
mm,
adopt a village. Even adopt a business. Like I've
yeah.
adopted you in our private, in our private
Yeah.
conversations. Even if
Yeah.
it's a word of encouragement, something will change for you.
Yes.
So
Imagine,
now,
I look at my revenues, whatever, when we're doing our P&L and our balance sheet, I spent 40% of my margins on power. I've
mm,
been running generator, like since morning. With this like 5 p.m. Nigerian time, we opened up
mm.
the bakery we didn't even go to bed. I mean, we worked overnight, slept for like two
Yes,
hours.
midnight
So
yesterday you were
since 6
texting
a.m.,
me.
12 hours now on generator.
Mm.
That's serious cash flow going down the drain. What we can use to do R&D, but it's spent on just keeping the business afloat. And those are things that affect us. And I'm not looking for aid from anywhere else. I'm just saying, what? How can we make this work in Africa? How can we solve this problem of power? This is 60 years after independence. We still have these basic issues going on. So those are the things that eat into our own profit margin that makes us see, just can't manufacture. How can you manufacture and compete with brands like Hungry Jack? How do you do that? When I'm running my own plant on diesel, on petrol, how do I do that? So it's pretty expensive, to do this. Someone said there are dark forces on the ground that will sabotage everything.
You saw me. I was
The person is, I'm like, there are human spirits there. They're not evil. They're human spirits that will just go there and install the infrastructure. What we have in NEPA is derelict. How do we get new ones? We don't even have technology. And yes, we have first class graduates from Yale, from Harvard, Nigerian engineers. So I'm like, why are they? Come and fix this thing for us. Because I'm not an engineer. I engineer food products. So I'm doing my own bit here. So those are the issues to talk about.
yeah, okay. When I saw that comment, I was like, that forces on.
So it's really amazing.
Are
It's
you
really
talking
amazing.
about us? See the laugh. This is not funny.
It's not dark forces.
Oh my gosh. I've told people like this show is people are just you're a fly on the wall. These are conversations we have in private. Like
Yeah. Sorry to hear your life went off.
no,
So that's what we face here in Nigeria. I'm glad you experienced it real time now. And any means for them, I just go off because my Wi-Fi I use fiber one optics. Fiber one optics
oh
operates
my,
by power supply. So it's
oh
not
my
like a Wi-Fi, it's not like a Wi-Fi that I can just say, okay, maybe it's powered by power bank. This without power supply, my fiber one optics, which is the most advanced
this
technology
is
of Wi-Fi,
this
is going to
is
go off.
every
So
day,
yeah,
this is it. This is it. And this is why diaspora, if you're in diaspora, I've been saying it for years now.
yes. I mean,
We
Sharif is correct. Nigeria is a mess. 80%. Yes, I spent 40% of my markup margin on power. 40%. Imagine that. So how am I going to grow and be at power and be a global player when I can't even maintain my infrastructure? I mean, we're doing our very best, but that means I'm going to go home with a leaner margin to keep afloat. And that's why
yes.
many of us relocate. Like, you know what? We can't deal like this. We can't waste this precious life just trying to make things work when other forces are not helping you move forward. So
Okay, this is my challenge to everybody. I usually talk about, what does it take to grow a nation? If you
mm,
were to count the number of people in power, because one of the mindset also that we have to go against is or go after is oh, they are responsible for fixing Nigeria. They are the ones not doing this. Here's what's going on. If you are to count everybody, the number of people in government today, count all of them, everybody that's been voted. Let's say they cannot be more than maybe 2,000. Let's
Mm.
even say there are 5,000 people in government controlling government in Nigeria.
Yeah.
How can we, 2 million, 200 million people, outsource our destiny in the hands of 5,000 people?
Mm. Mm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like 2 million strong people in Nigeria, they are leaning heavily on, let's say, 5,000 people to fix everything. And one of my classes that I even delivered, in October, I delivered to about 14 African countries, representatives from 14 African countries. There are several things I discussed with them because we also have to have a real serious conversation with those people in policy, right?
Yeah.
Part of it is realizing that economic development happens at the grassroots.
Mm.
A lot of times people will say, oh, Abuja, Abuja. Do you know he doesn't know the address of your street right now.
Except he
So,
Google's it. Cakeflair. Google
right.
Cakeflair.
So the reason is I'm using the Nigerian language to say
I
that
know.
if you know that help is not coming from central office,
Yes.
we don't
You think
just,
differently. Yeah. You think
yeah,
differently.
you think differently, you think creatively, you almost start creating your own government.
Absolutely. That's what's happening. I am
Right.
my own government, my own
Because,
power supply, my own water corporation, my own everything. My gen just needs to rest. Otherwise, my staff will have switched the generator. I actually had two generators. I had to sell off one. I'm like, you know what? It was 100 kVA. I was spending too much. I had to reduce it to a smaller one. And now with some that we work with NEPA. When I had to go to NEPA office, sir, what time are you going to give us power supply? Let's have a sort of timeline to be sure. I said, Madam, there's always power supply. It's distribution that we don't have. We don't have the tools or the equipment to distribute what we generated. So half of what we produce are wasted. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I mean, we actually generate. You say, well, if you can transfer what generated so far, you even have maybe longer, hours for power supply. But because we can't even transmit what's been generated, we can't even distribute it. So that's the problem. So
yeah,
you see, how do I become? When they say, "Oh, be self-reliant," I am self-reliant, and it's tough. I feel like
yeah,
I'm wasting resources. Efficiencies are kind of dropped, so I have to start scaling down, going lean. And you see, sometimes when you want to grow, yes, you go lean, but then we were so lean that there's no other leanness we can acquire. We're already working on the bare bone budgets. The issue is how do we now begin to have those infrastructures replaced? I want to be able to create a system around an ideal environment where I have my power supply 24/7. That's my goal. If I have that going out, I don't have to worry about stuff like this. And even the solar alternatives, they're more expensive than even the regular power supply that we have. So I feel like right now we are doing the best that we can as Nigerians, being enterprising, pushing ourselves forward. But you see, we need basic infrastructure. I don't think that should be like a luxury. It should be like a right. It should be a
mm-hmm,
given in
mm-hmm.
this 21st century. So that's, I feel, look at like 1 up 6. They've come to replace those former, oh, you don't have to buy data. All I need is just pay monthly and I have access, unlimited access. But you
Limited.
see, it still runs on power supply. Now, if I'm not careful, after a while, I'll just go off. You won't even see me here anymore because
Oh, wow.
I'm running my UPS right now. If that one goes off, that's it. And the gen has to rest at least another 1 hour before we can come back on to continue. We're baking downstairs, decorating cakes. We need power supply to chill the cakes and package them. So we need power supply. That's for me, it's like the holy grail, of any business, power supply. Let's have that. And
Yeah.
Nigeria can self. We're a self economy. We're actually a self economy. We're not. There's no
Yeah.
government
I'm
incentive.
going, to definitely, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send this video to a few people. Yeah, don't worry. Some people will see this. Some people that, at some level, I'll send it to them. I'll say, okay, you see right there. So no, all things work together. This is good because this is a real life, right? We're
Yeah.
talking about regional trade.
Mm,
So what's also happening within AFCFTA that the private sector like you need to awaken is that if these infrastructure challenges are not fixed,
mm,
people are coming January 1, they're coming to penetrate your market.
hmm.
The competition you have now is no longer, oh, who is my competition in Nigeria?
It's now regional.
Yes, because people right now, they're asking me, Toyin, where should I, how should I sell? Where do I go? Like, they are looking to penetrate. Nigeria is the biggest market. And
Mm.
literally, some people's full-time job is to crack the Nigerian market.
Yes, this camper for it, and we're here just like, oh, want to
So
be a
it's
part.
yeah, it becomes even more important at the policymaker level, at the private sector level. This has to be fixed.
And
But I want,
executing those policies, Tony, execution is key at this point.
yes,
We have
yes.
fantastic policies on paper. Go and read human rights policies. I mean, it's one of the best in the world. But how is it practiced? We still have
Mm,
society going on. We still, so I'm not, I'm trying not to be politically correct. I want to say things where they are. But then again, I look at the fact that governments alone can't do it. We
mm-hmm,
can partner with them. But you see, government has to do its part first. And it's
mm,
play a primary role. Don't get involved in, they say, oh, don't sell recharge card. Or don't play the role of infrastructure development, power supply. If there's anything government can do, power education. I think, power education and what else? Power
healthcare.
education and healthcare. Those three, they are the three fundamental pillars of survival. If that's fixed, we can now begin to say aspiration, self-actualization, and then move on that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If we don't do that, Toyin, we'll be going around the circle. We say all the rhetorics, say all the right things, but we're not going to be able to achieve satisfactory progress because we don't have those fundamentals in place.
Right. Wow, wow. This has been fun. So let me there's been comments here. Let me try and bring some of those in. Um okay, Valerie Maya said, yes, the mindset of African centered is paramount. Private industry voice is powerful. Leading in the community will empower hundreds and thousands locally. Um, Emailer, that's Igbo for thank you for your service and guidance. Owen Abiola Oloke says, great session. I don't want to talk about the dark forces, but yeah, I just say, there's sabotage. So my own the way I see what's going on when it comes to what that user is trying to say, because I try to process all of these things and I try to describe them in ways of a lot of the people I see, even in government, the best of them mean well, and we just lost Chef Jules right now. So I'll try and summarize and wrap up. So basically, there's a whole lot of work that has to happen when it comes to policy development and infrastructure development to support the advancement of trade. So for us as Nataru, we keep talking about trade with Africa, but it's not something we engage in blindly, right? This is not a blind thing that we say trade with Africa. We are aware of the challenges. We are aware of where the opportunities are for growth. And part of why we are so involved in various platforms is there are some platforms where we've developed that is strictly for advocacy. So our Trade with Africa Business Summit, we bring stakeholders together to identify these areas and to even monitor progress in those spaces. Then we have the Trade with Africa Network, that we've brought SMEs together and even policy leaders as well, where we do business coaching, policy coaching, master classes. We do events there because we know even when we marshal a troop of people, we have to upskill them. Because if you marshal an army and the army is not ready to go to war, when I say war, to go after trade and capture trade opportunities, there's a problem. What you have is people without the right skill set. When we talk about the next gold rushes in Africa, you've listened to Chef Jules talk about all of the incredible value chain opportunities. She's openly shared with us the successes, the wins in our production, in our product creation, the innovation that she's bringing into that space. She's also openly talked to us about the challenges, the infrastructure challenges, where she's spending about 40% of our budget in basic power generation. And that is true for a lot of people, which are things that we need to bring to the surface to say under the AFCFTA. For example, our local market is Nigeria. For them to win, for the private sector to be able to compete with the rest of Africa, this has to be this has to be addressed. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up today's session. I hope you had a great time. This live session, I've actually revamped it in preparation for the coming year. We now have speakers even lined up into March. So I'm so excited now. because part of the work that I do behind the scene, I'm finding out that the conversations I have one-on-one with people is not visible, and other people could be learning from it and growing from it as well. So next week we're going to have Mr. Adiemi from Michigan. Is the president of GABA Association, Global Africa Business Association, out of Michigan. And we're going to talk about even opportunities for the African American and diaspora community to re-engage with the continent. So I'm looking forward to that next week, Tuesday. You're going to be joining me. And then I'll keep, and now maybe I'll keep, if you're a member of our Trade with Africa network, is membership subscription based. You already have seen the schedule of activities. So we'll release the names of the speakers that we've lined up into March as well. We're growing that list as well. So thank you so much. If you're members of the network, you can see our upcoming programs, our coaching session, business coaching. The next one we have lined up is for SMEs, small, medium-sized enterprises. And the topic is about how to build globally relevant brand. And we'll cover export development, business development, branding, and all of those things. These are the things you have to do, foundation that really the customer may not care about. But here are the things as well that it's not just about the product, it's the customer experience, it's the packaging, and all of those things that being able to win regionally and globally means. Okay. So for those of our community members, part of the work that I do with individual people in personal coaching, what I'm doing now is packaging that and doing a lot of group coaching and helping people build their businesses. So I want to thank Chef Jules, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, for joining us today. She's amazing. She's incredible. She's one of those people that is just loaded with a whole lot of information. And I know she's joining me right now. She's calling me right now. That I'll respond to her. I think it's part of the challenges that we have. Let me pick the call and see. Hey, my dear, we're still live. I'm you want to come? Okay, yes, if you can still come back, I was and then officially we can wrap this up. So yay, I see you now. Thank you. Yay. Thank you.
I had to use
Oh, you're back. I'm glad. I was just trying to share that, even I was just announcing like the programs I'm planning for the community. So what we now do is every third Friday of every month, every third Friday of every month, every fourth. So second, third, and fourth Fridays of every month, I have programs for my membership base. We've lost her again, unfortunately. This is technology for you. She's joining all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Let's see if she can join us again. This is life. This is real life of international trade, right? Time zone. She's back. Yes. No,
yeah,
this is real life. This is international business. This is international trade. It comes with its own challenges. But I tell you, when we get this right, which
yeah.
we are on this journey. We are just at the beginning. I'm telling you, I'm so excited about the future that it is so unreal. You know why it's unreal? I've engaged with one of the most influential women, and she might be watching in Vietnam, Cambodia. And she told
Wow.
me, she looked at me and she said, Toyin, 15 years ago in Vietnam, we were facing these same challenges. We
Mm,
were begging people to come and invest in our region.
mm,
Like she said, we were flying all over the world. We were saying, come and invest, begging people. She told me what they faced, where they owed so much money. The government owed money to old Soviet. They couldn't pay. You know
mm.
what they were doing? They were manufacturing military uniforms and shipping it to old Soviet to pay off their debts after the
Wow.
war. She said when they finished paying off the debt, they realized they had built a solid chain when it comes to textile manufacturing.
Yeah.
And the government was like, ooh, if we could make that for military, let's start shopping all over the world for
Mm.
brands that we can manufacture for
You
and
see?
keep people employed. She told me all the story and she was like, go back to Africa. She even told me you need to move back. That's what she said. She moved back and she had to. I mean, back then, I wish I had listened a lot to her because she said one of the things she had to do was train the government in negotiation skills
Mm.
because they were signing off the future, which is what's happening in Africa. She told me all the things she had to do. And she was like, Toyin, don't repeat my mistakes. That was what she told me. She said, go back to that Africa. If you see this, if you see that, come and tell me. We'll go and look for money. We'll come and invest.
Yes, not so when you said that, I just brought a story to mind. I have a friend who does dried fruits, real fruits. Afi Williams. She's doing phenomenally well in the area of real fruits. She does mango, dried mangoes, pineapples, and stuff. From if you're coming from Ilorin all the way to Lagos, pass through Oyo, that expanse of lands, like almost like 1 hour drive on that express, you see mango trees. And we're just asking, like, Afi was like, what, of all the mangoes that we produce in Nigeria, we really can't use them to produce our dried fruits because the quality of what's produced is not okay. So the farming processes that we use to produce the mangoes are not even right. And so they have to be importing mangoes. At the point, like, let me just move my factory from Nigeria to Ghana because of that gap. Even though we have this vast resource, it's not well tapped. So, like, when you just said this idea of, so I just thought, okay, why can't, this issue of conversation with Africans and then manufacturing. I think if you can fix manufacturing sector, we can see that Vietnamese kind of group, because you see that they were manufacturing and they have this chain of conveyor belt style operations. If you can have that in Nigeria, where we don't have to depend on power supply, I'm sure they probably have power supply in Vietnam. They have power supply there.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we don't have that. So how
Yeah.
can we now compete with a country like Ghana?
One thing I'll just say right now, all of you that are innovators and leading in your industry, not just within your industry, across industry, because you talked about real fruits, you all need to be part of the network and you need to be watching all the content I'm producing, because I have like a lady, Masabata, she's 23-year-old. She was one of my speakers in South Africa. She's helping farmers in South Africa to produce to global gap standards, which is what you just talked about. There are international standards of how you plant, your soil must be tested, this number of fertilizer must not be used. Like that if it's not about what you grow, it's not just the tree.
Yes,
Is your
the processes.
planting, yes, she's doing that and she's building a program. And I made some introductions for her, where she even spoke to buyers in Walmart. So that she can start working and backward engineer to say, if this is what a brand like Walmart is looking for, it might take me 2-3 years to, at least I have that knowledge of the end game.
Yeah.
So that's something I would we'll find a way, you and I will find a way to pull people like you, people like her into a group where you have all the content we have. I have, like, YouTube just told me we produced like over 10,000 hours of content the last month.
Wow.
So
10,000?
yeah, so I did I did Nigeria Investment Conference, AFCFTA Roundtable. We have like, and I do conversations almost every week, this webinar. So we're producing and I'm making these are things that are high value, thousands of dollars that you can't get. But because I want impact. But what's going on is that many people back home in Africa, is back to what I said. We now have to learn how to fish. If you go online, you need to start looking at communities. You need to get out of the bubble called Nigeria, for example.
Yes.
You need to start saying, what did Egypt do?
Yeah.
What did Morocco? I featured one of our speakers from Morocco. She's the managing director for American Morocco Chamber of Commerce. And she said Morocco doesn't have oil. So they only power through solar. And they have the world's largest solar farm. We all on the call, we were like, we did not know that. So Morocco is now a springboard for launching into Spain because of proximity to Europe. So American brands go there, they produce there, but what they are producing for the European markets. So how is Morocco surviving and thriving without oil?
Without oil.
Yes. So those are the questions I would say private leaders like you, like her, you all need to break out of the mind. Like, there's work is happening across Africa, right? How do you become a part of that movement? And I hope we're not losing you again. But how
No,
do
we're
you?
not. I'm here.
Okay, so that's what I'm walking away with, because we have a lot of information. We have a lot of direct channels to global decision makers, and I'm seeing that leaders like you that information is not penetrating, and we can
Yes,
match
I'm glad you mentioned
FTA.
FTA. I'm glad you mentioned that. This is one of the things I'm going to really pursue in the new year and see. Okay, fine. You mentioned I'm going to come back here, Toyin,
Yeah,
after while okay, fine. Let's do a scorecard. Let's
no,
see
you don't. You don't.
how far we're
Yeah.
going to go. I'm going to really pursue it vigorously and see harness the opportunities that this has presented. I'm going to come back here and really out for you if it has really works.
Yes, and you have me. I'm here to support you. We have materials. We have info. I have direct channels. Like you have me. Okay. So I want to thank you again. This is real life. This is international
Thank you.
trade. This is the real stuff. It's what time is it in Lagos, Nigeria now? 7, 8, 6. What's the time?
It's 6:22. Wow,
Yes,
not long. It
yes,
looks like
yes.
2 minutes we've talked. I mean,
Yes, these are the things, and thank you again. And today's session is sponsored by my beauty brand. You and I have talked about my brand,
oh
right?
yeah.
Yes. And we've actually redesigned our packaging. I'm seeing if I we've redesigned
Where
our
did you get
packaging.
the stuff in Nigeria? See, I was looking for makeup to put on. Like, okay, where can I,
Yeah,
where can
and
we get your makeup in Nigeria?
it has shea butter, and see the packaging as well. It's now available on Amazon and all of that, and it's as shea butter. It's color changing. So we don't just talk, right? This is
Mm,
real supply chain talk about products, about movement of things, and we face real life. We face real challenges as well, and we overcome, because a lot of times people see, when I say trade with Africa, they see it through the lens of, oh, fluffy. Oh, say, it sounds really amazing. No, behind the scenes, it's just like when you go into a Walmart, you go in, you experience a Walmart, but in the back office, things are
yes.
happening. Work is really going on. And that's what we've
Yeah.
exposed to people. Um, oh wow, we've had more comments coming. Um,
Okay.
okay. There are tools left on the ground. They are compromised, and yeah, okay, maybe I'll manually respond to them later, but I know time has gone. You have to go back. I
Yeah.
pulled you off the production line. But thank you so
Yeah.
much. We want to stay connected with your story. Maybe one thing I want to do now, maybe let's do a write-up about you that would accompany this video, maybe a full page ad in our community for you. So if anybody
Wow.
wants to contact you, because it's this
Oh, thank
yeah,
you so much.
no, you know me now. This is not so. This is even though we are sharing this anyway, you have me. Okay. God bless you, my dear. I love you. Mwah. Thank you for doing this.
I must say, thank you so much. I'm so proud of what you're doing. You're not just a talker, you're a doer. I really thank you so much for the content, the strategy you put in place, even the products that you have. I mean, the proof of what you've been saying is also in your products. So I'm really proud of you, Toyin, and I look forward to also seeing your brand here in Nigeria. I don't want to only buy it from Amazon. I want to see it in my local stores here as well. So as you bring it in Nigeria, we want to also be able to patronize you. So please, we're here waiting for you. The
My
market
dear,
here is ready for you as well.
my dear, my dear, you are in all shop right now. Give me your contacts. Eh? Let's talk to your shop right manager.
Okay, okay,
Eh,
deal.
let's launch Omova Beauty, all ShopRite stores in
Yes,
Nigeria. See, that's
absolutely,
how it's done. Ask for what you want and you will get it. So, your contact,
absolutely.
you pitch me in. We can talk. You see, I'm a businesswoman. We can talk about rev
Yeah.
share, whatever, blah, 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 manager. Those are things. I tell people you don't like talking about money. That's why you're not in
Mm,
business. We are business people.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So,
this is such amazing. These are the types of conversation. So my live show is really, it's not stuffy. It's just
mm,
coffee break, coffee
yeah,
conversation, the type of conversation I have with people. So I already announced our speaker next year is um from Michigan, and myself and him as well. We talk about diaspora engagement in trade with
mm,
Africa. We also talk about opportunities in America where there are zones, economic zones designated that are tax safe, tax havens. If you were to
yeah.
do things in certain communities, you actually you won't pay tax. Like there's so many things. So we're going to talk about that next week so that diasporas can start seeing. some of your products. If you want to do export, we can take advantage of those opportunities. We also feature like opportunities like Exim Bank, Afri Exim Bank, because if you are even in business, you know how it is. You know, you were talking about financing and all of that. We'll take
Yes.
it offline. And I said, oh, you're a candidate for our business coaching. We'll take it. You graduated, if I can say so.
Awesome.
You know,
Awesome.
if you will give me permission to take a little bit of credit in your amazing success.
Please go ahead. You're already a shareholder in our success story anyway.
Oh, thank you. You know, we all want to be a part of winning people. You're right there. Thank you, my dear.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
everyone.
having me.
Oh
Thank
no,
you
thank
guys.
you, thank you. See you again next week
All right.
and
Bye.
bye. Mm.
Na 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 na. Mama licha kanyibo.